This week, before leaving Dubai to head to the UK to speak at OTT Question Time Live, I was offered a unique opportunity, a one-to-one with Tzvi Gerstl, the Chief Technology Officer at Synamedia. Now, why was I offered this? My interest in their latest product, Senza, came from the amount of shockwaves, interest, perceptions that were generated when it was released just before IBC 2024, and the amount of chatter that there was in the WhatsApp community that I host for OTT Red. Lots of different perceptions, lots of different opinions, lots of conjecture about whether or not the product would bring the kind of change to the market that Synamedia says that it will. Well, here we are, 4 months down the line. The product is on the market, and this interview will reveal what the complexion of developing this product, bringing it to market, and what 2025 looks like. Here's my special interview with Tzvi Gerstl about Senza. So here we are, the first interview in this second episode of the download, and it's my pleasure to introduce Tzvi. Tzvi is the CTO at Synamedia, and I'm keen to explore with him exactly what the motivations were to develop this product, what the type of differences are when it comes to the competitive horizon that this product exists on, both in terms of user experience, functionality, and the different geographic markets that it might be tailored specifically for, and then also what the launch plan is across the course of 2025 for this product, because I've been hearing about it at least since IBC last year, and I'm looking forward from a selfish perspective to hearing much more about it now. Tzvi, welcome to this episode of The Download.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. It's a really pleasure to be here. Since IBC, a lot happened for Synamedia, for Senza, ultimately.
Absolutely. Well, look, we need to start off with this story, Tzvi, because it was quite funny. News came onto the market about Senza being released. We've obviously got the OTT Red community that's got 2,000 members, 800 of which are in the WhatsApp group that you're in. And you obviously picked up on the same ripples that I did across that WhatsApp group. When people started talking about Senza, you jumped in there. You were actually kind enough. I think you were in a car on the way to IBC, and you shot a quick video for the members of the community talking about Senza, popped it into the group, and that kind of contained all of the energy around this product. Then here we are 3 or 4 months later, and I've got the opportunity to actually have a bit more of a stable conversation with you about what is Senza, why did you guys roadmap this product to develop it, and actually what markets, what kind of functionality does it bring to the market that's game changing? Because that's certainly the sentiment that I pick up through all of the conversations with your colleagues recently that attended the Broadcast Pro event. Let's start at the beginning. What is Senza, Tzvi?
Okay, let's start from there. I think it's a good point to start. So, Senza, it's a product that we have been thinking for a while, and we were incubating quite secretly because we felt that there is a real need to reinvent a bit of the market of the streaming. So essentially, when you're talking about Senza, it's a new way of delivering content and user experiences, and actually leveraging some of the technology that was there in some form or shape, where cloud technologies plus gaming technology and teleconference technology. So in essence, you are streaming the user interface from the backend, right? Leveraging a huge amount of CPU, actually GPU, that you can get from the cloud, while keeping the traditional ADR structure of the video. So on one hand, you get a low latency, amazing experience on an ultra low level device. So it gets really a huge amount of power for operators. So you can, on one hand, have an ultra cheap device that is capable to just decode, practically do a little bit of security and render, and the rendering of the user interface and everything like that is done in the cloud. So by having that architecture that in essence is quite, you could say, simple, you really open a huge amount of opportunities, both in terms of cost and going to really massive, but also creating amazing user experience, because at the end now you are not limited to a device, to a set-top box, to even a smart TV. As powerful as smart TV could be, over 2-3 years times, you get it get obsolete. Now you're having a device where all the brain, all the power is coming from the outside. So people that joined some of the demos in IBC and others were like, surprised. I think that we had like tens of dozens of the industry influencers, CEOs, CXOs showing the product, and everyone said, "What? How is possible to do that in such a few dollars device?" But the end of the story is that all the intellectual property that we have put is to really be able to process in the back end. And one of the first challenges that we face technically is to manage to have a round trip of latency from the click of the user interface going to the cloud back to the device in like a few really tens of milliseconds, hundreds of milliseconds. But also, I mentioned to interconnect streaming protocols that are AVR based with more real-time protocols. So that is all the invention. We have more than 25 patents around this. So just to give you a little bit of the scale of the innovation, and the excitement is big. We have the first customers coming, and we'll talk about that in a few moments. So it's about the architecture that allows to go all the way down in costs, right? But also generating really premium experiences if you really want to.
Tzvi, I want to talk about the experiences. So much of our market is determined with experience as a huge differentiator. You've mentioned set-top boxes, smart TVs, cloud, user experience. You also mentioned 25 patents. Now, that's something hugely distinctive in terms of a product evolution, especially from a brand as significant as Synamedia on the competitive horizon. And you also mentioned that it was quite secretive at first. Take me back in as much as you can without disclosing anything sensitive to what the original idea was based on. Where did the conversation come up? What was the thing that made you think this is something that we must do?
Well, I think that it started Nick Texton, who is our EVP of Media Cloud Services, when he came and said, let's do 100 million devices, something that can provide 100 million devices in a sub $5 cost. That's kind of the first question where we started from. And then that developed to, okay, if you want a $5 box or device or something sub $5, what do you put there? It should be really minimal. You cannot have a lot of CPU. You cannot have. So where do you put all that intelligence? Okay, let's try to leverage edge processing, cloud processing, and all that stuff. And that slowly but surely will start evolving into a plan where we said, okay, let's prove that latencies works. But because if you, at the end of the day, you don't manage to get the right latencies, then the user experience it doesn't feel like a premium product. And then all of a sudden we said, okay, let's say that latency works, but what about people that already have their video already in storage, data plates, CDNs? You have to be able to keep that. You cannot come to an operator and say, hey, you need to revolutionize all your storage or your video or your processed content. It's just impossible. It's not practical. So let's keep that. But on the flip side, let's be able to offer real-time video applications that literally, like as we are talking through a Google Meets or a platform like that. What if a professional or large-scale video deployments could work at that type of technologies? And and that is when we started saying, okay, we can even combine type of videos and processing, and by saying that the UI is produced somewhere else, not in the device, we started thinking, okay, but then if you're doing it outside your own device, you can use AI, you can generate all kinds of cool user interfaces. You even can say, okay, I can group multiple devices, multiple TVs, screens, and create one image. So you can, with Senza, you could potentially take, and we show that, like take an 8K or a 4K picture and split it into 4 different screens, and it's absolutely frame accurate. And that's the beauty of what you can do. And then, I can walk through you a lot of other scenarios and user interfaces that were developed by us or by third parties and partners. And that also drove us to the point thinking, okay, but you know what? If you are capable to do all that, it's not just about the traditional, operators. You can go in other verticals in video, where real time is very important, like potentially gaming or other or betting, sports betting. So because you have that type of real time performance.
There must have been moments in the sprints associated to this product development where you guys had some massive eureka moments. I mean, the kind of frontiers that you're speaking about, frankly, Tzvi, you and I will know, often get spoken about how to maximize and optimize opportunity for edge and compute and AI and all of these things. With this product release, you guys have actually demonstrated that Synamedia's got the competence and ambition to encapsulate all of those things into one offering. Talk me through, if there was one eureka moment in the updates in working with the product teams where maybe you really saw something would be a challenge and then actually worked around that and were able to overcome it. Was there something like that in the complexion of the development where you could say that was something that we are super proud to be able to bring to the market?
Frankly, there are many moments, at least 2 or 3, like that it literally can. One of them was to prove to Google that our DRM system is even stronger, and then that was a moment, a lot of where we are showing to a different company that we can make this wide line compliant at the highest security compliancy, which I don't think that you have any product in the world at that price point that is capable to have all the wide line compatibility. And it was a moment where we disclaim a little bit of the architecture and the insights, and you can feel there was a senior architect there in the other side, like he said, wow. So basically, you're really creating a much more secure device, which is true. But there are other moments, like I mentioned, where we managed to put all that intelligence in such a small device that was designed by us, and and at that very close to the initial price point that we were discussing. The other one, which I feel that it was a very incredible moment, is when we started seeing all the user interfaces and applications that were not developed by us, because that's another important element. These platforms offers developers to get into an HTML5 type of purely web application. So you develop your web application. You're really running on a Chromium, not a browser that is reduced. It's a really full browser in the cloud. So when we saw applications coming into the platform in matters of hours, probably the most eureka moment was when we had a customer, a private customer meeting. So before the meeting, we got the URL of the application. And in the course of the meeting, we put the full application in the platform. And by the end, it was ready to go. So could you imagine any OTT platform, even the most advanced OTT platform, in a matter, literally in a few hours, you get your application running without, really almost zero customizations. And there is no magic here. Well, there is magic, but it's because all is in the web, utilizing the web technology. And that's the simplicity, but the cleverness simultaneously is what I think that we are super excited about.
It's what I'm super excited about, Tzvi. When I hear stories like this from within our industry, it is exciting, and not just for you and for me. Actually, I think a lot of the organizations, even if they don't say it on your competitive horizon, will see this as a catalyst for their own innovation. People are going to need to compete with what you've done. I want to talk about the market and the more commercial side of the benefit and upside that this brings for Synamedia in 2025 and beyond. But before I do that, I've got to ask you a question. This is a product that's got 25 patents. We talk about set-top box. It's not smart TV. It's using cloud. How do you describe this product? What category does it fall into, Tzvi? Is it something totally new? Is it a spearhead product for our industry?
I think there is a new category. Actually, it wouldn't be fair to put it in the set-top box or in a companion device or a smart TV. It's really a new category that we are creating here, and our ambition is to go really to create new categories. And as I mentioned, our ambition is about going into not just our traditional verticals, but beyond that. And why so compelling? First and foremost, the cost. The device is super cheap, and in fact, as Nick mentioned multiple times, our ambition or our business plan is not to be a connector manufacturer. That's not really it's an element to get to our goal, but it's not our ambition. And the other thing that the business model is truly you pay as you use. So we all know that in a household you have different usage for different TVs. You have a primary TV that is being used a lot, but you equally have TVs in other places at home that are significantly less used. With this model, you really take advantage of that, and you don't need to pay for equally for each usage. But not just that, you just pay the payment is for the user experience, basically. And again, the user experience is not used all the time. But on the flip side, you can create, as mentioned, an amazing innovation with very little dependency on your tech vendor, which is actually that's part of the beauty of this platform. You can bring, and we have a platform. The platform is created in a way that is completely open. We have our web development portal, which is state of the art. It includes a lot for any developer in the world, any company in the world to go and develop against the platform. It's very simple to get into that with a lot of examples, a lot of sample code and media to learn and use. But if you're an operator and you want to bring your own, and in fact, that's what we are aiming to open the platform as much as we can to any third party, any partner that wants to work with us. So with a very little effort, you can create amazing innovation. You can create AI services. I don't know, just to give you an example, if you're an operator, you have video, you want to have auto-translate services done with AI, auto-generation of subtitles, you want to make summaries of your movies. All these things is very easy to do because at the end you connect this with web protocols, with RESTful APIs, standard stuff that you do today in any web application. You can incorporate. So basically, you can create almost endless user experiences at a super low level cost, and that's kind of the compelling of the product.
What's the target market for this, Tzvi? Is this a product that makes Synamedia a B2C organization, or what's the target market in terms of the organizations and maybe even the geographies that you think are going to be most receptive to the type of functionality that you're speaking about?
I'm not sure that it's going to change materially, at least not in the immediate term. We don't have ambitions to go to B2C. Our model is B2B, but the other B, the other side might be very different over time, and also our business will expand. That's clear. What was your other question? Sorry, Chris.
The geographic, whether or not there's a geographic emphasis on the market presence that you want to put behind the introduction of Senza.
It's interesting, and I'm sure that there is a lot to talk about this. But on one hand, when we are talking about new experiences, new user innovation, that's a very much a proposition that can work for highly developed markets, because the searching for differentiator factors is incredibly important. But equally, we talked about cost, so you can go down the line on large deployments at a very low cost point, and that makes incredibly interesting also for developing markets, or for APAC, or for even LATAM. And so I think that there is room with different ways for. There is no particular geography that is just good for, and which is, I think, that part of the beauty.
I almost feel like you've got a luxury problem on your hands with this one, Tzvi, which is, well, where do we want to go? What do we want to do? It's got a certain relevance generically as well as specifically to various markets. So, where do we point the needle at? Tzvi, does the course of the next 6 months and the next 12 months look like? Because if the last 3 months have kind of been a runway for this product since the launch at IBC, and I can remember seeing how small this thing was when Nick Dexton pulled it out of his pocket at IBC and showed it to me. What stage are you at now in terms of the introduction to market for Senza?
So we have the first customers, and I don't know if I can mention the name of the customers. Well, I will avoid that. But we are launching really in the next week's time, commercially. Then the first ones, not one. I think that in the next few weeks, really two of them, and then the third one is coming a little bit later. And it's expansion. It's all about expansion in terms of development and innovation. We have a lot of, I think, amazing things coming. Expansion of the platform in terms of partners. That's a very important thing for us. We believe that part of the success of this platform is to prove that this is a truly open platform, which many have tried. If you go the history from the set-top boxes, that was a very closed environment. We moved to streaming environments that is significantly more open. But we believe that here we are going significantly ahead, right? And with a very little amount of effort, you can put anything practically that you want into the platform. So expansion is really growing, and expansion is our goal for FY25.
So I have a feeling that I'm going to be inviting you back to the download in 3 months to give us an update on this product. And if we don't bump into each other at an industry event before then I will most definitely be inviting you back. I feel lucky and honored to have got the time of somebody so senior in the industry, Tzvi. So thank you for coming on this episode of The Download, and keep the offer in your pocket. If you guys do ever want to come back and update us on this product development, or in fact anything to do with Synamedia, I know that the audience that watches this will be very, very interested to listen. So Tzvi, thank you very much for being a guest on this episode of The Download.
Thank you very much.